Féiscearma agus fáilte gan lesson show. Good afternoon and welcome to this lesson. It's good to see you today. Hai fuair auna main anju. Oha, oha. Today we're going to take a look at wanting to read something. This kind of phrase gives us a really good example for other kinds of complex sentences and is quite useful for expressing things that we want to do. Maybe you've seen the other videos about wanting to do or make, wanting to eat or drink, wanting to see. So this will give us the last of those patterns that we need to make these complex sentences just right and to make them more naturally. All right, gleva. So let's jump in here. Let's get started. So we need to have our actions wanting and reading. Let's come over here. Okay. So if you've seen these videos about wanting to do something already, you know egiari, wanting. Egiari. And the the action I do is like this, like you want something. Oh, I just want a cup of coffee, or anything like that. Egiari. These kinds of gestures, like almost like a sign language, really reinforce the words in your mind very quickly, and also help you recall them, help you remember them very fast as well. Faster than just seeing a word or even a picture, which is why I like doing hand gestures like this. It helps you remember it super quickly, and then also you build muscle memory, like you build your memory just by doing this too. So feel free to do the gestures with me. Egiari. Nice. So what about reading? If you're a reader, maybe you've come across this already. Allévig. So, there's a not so obvious sound in there. Lévig. It's a Y sound. Right here at the beginning. Lévig. And there's kind of a V sound there in the middle. Yeah. Allévig. Nice. Gleva. So we have egiari and we have allévig. Hami allévig. Gleva. So how do we put them together? Unfortunately, it's not as easy as just egiari allévig. And if you've seen the other videos about wanting to do things, you know what's coming. There's a trick to it. So let's take a look at a full sentence, and then we'll see the trick in action so that you really understand it. All right. So we need a sentence. Wanting to read something. I want to read a book. Or something. I don't want to do anything today. I just want to read a book. Hami egiari something allévig. And let's put book in. Hami egiari leabhar allévig. Hami egiari leabhar allévig. Nice. So this is our pattern here. Hami egiari, whatever it is, allévig. So let's take a closer look at the parts so we understand the sentence really deeply. Okay. Hami egiari leabhar is a book. Allévig. To read. Hami egiari leabhar allévig. Nice. What else could we say? Hami egiari irish. Have you seen that before? Irish. It's a magazine. Just like that. Hami egiari irish. Irish aljevig. Nice. Gleva, just like that. What about, I want to read a good story. Yeah, I like a good story. Yeah. Hami egiari jo skialach aljevig. Jo skialach. Ai, studium jo skialach aljevig. Gleva. Yeah, that's how it works. Whatever we want to read, we put right here. And this thing comes after egiari, and then we have aljevig right afterwards. So in English we say wanting to read. In Gaelic we say wanting the thing to read. It's different. It's kind of funky, it's tricky at first, but the more you practice, the more you see it, the more natural it will become. Yeah, it's not such a big deal once you get used to it. Okay, so let's see, what could we do? I am wanting to read a book. What about I don't want to read a book? Chaniel mi egiari lewer aljevig. Chaniel, nabi gorach. Don't be silly. Chaniel mi. Chaniel mi. Yeah, that's how it works. Just replace ha with chaniel. Oh, gotta put that here. I am not. Yeah, chaniel, am not. What if I wanted to read a book? Like, I was so busy and all I wanted to do was just read my book. How do we put it in the past? Pretty straightforward. Take out chaniel, or ha, and we put va. Whoa, that's a funky va. Va mi. Va mi egiari lewer aljevig. Va mi egiari irish aljevig. Va mi egiari jo skialach aljevig. Just like that. Nice. So using this formula or this pattern, all we do is change a little bit and we can use it in many different ways. Yeah. Gleva. Let's see. What about asking someone, do you want to read this? Like maybe you have a bunch of books, say, hey, do you want to read this before I bring it back to the library? Or that kind of thing. Or before I donate it. How would we do that? Making a question. That didn't pan out. Leva. Egiari. Excuse me, Leshan. All right. Gav moleshka. Gav moleshka. Pardon me. Gav moleshka. A lesson. All right. So this is how we make the question. Let's put a question mark on the end so it's clear. Avel u egiari something aljevig. Avel u egiari something So let's put in this. Do you want to read this? Show. Show. Avel u egiari show allevig? Avel? Velu agiri sho allevig? Do you want to read this? And then how do you respond? Yes. Yes would be ha. 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 Ha mi agiri sho allevig. Or ha mi agiri shin allevig. That. Shin. Shin, sho. Shin, sho. Nice. Ha. Ha mi agiri shin allevig. Gleva. If you don't, what do? Besides throw a pen? What do we do after we throw the pen? Chaniel, chaniel, chaniel. Avel u agiri sho allevig? Chaniel. Chaniel mi agiri shin allevig. Chaniel. So let's take a closer look at this for a moment. So up here we're saying I am wanting, I was wanting. This is a question. Are you wanting? We know because of avel. Avel u agiri sho allevig. That's the big difference between them. Leva. What about in the past? Like up here we were looking at I was wanting to read a book. I wanted to read a book. How would you ask, were you wanting in the past? It looks just like this one up here. Just we start with anro. Anro is the question, were you? Well, anro is were, and when we put it with u, it's were you. Anro u, were you? Avel u, are you? So avel is happening now. Anro is in the past. Anro u, and then it's the same. Egiari. Anro egiari. Leor. Leor. Anro u egiari. Leor allevig. Anro. So how do you respond? Yes, I was wanting. I did want. Va. 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 Va mi agiri leor allevig. Va. But if not, charo. Charo mi agiri leor allevig. Charo. Na be gorach. Don't be silly. Just like that. So this is how we ask, were you wanting to do something in the past? And then are you wanting to do something in the past? And both of these work with all the other patterns you saw in the other videos. Wanting to do or make something, wanting to eat or drink something, wanting to see something. You could put anro in them, you can put avel in them. Oh yeah. Yeah, so these work for all of them. Okay, let's see, what could we do? What could we do? Well, have a bit of tea first. Blasta. Now what if you're asking, who wants to read this? Who wants to read a book? Who wants to read a magazine? Who wants to read a good story? I do. Who? So how do we put that together? Who wants to? Notice in English, we're getting all sorts of different forms of want. I want. Are you wanting? Did you want? Or were you wanting? I wanted. So in English, there's actually a lot of verb changes. Here, it's actually more straightforward. Yeah, in my opinion, in my view. English is really complicated. Okay, who wants to read a book? Who wants to read a magazine? How do we do that? It's really straightforward, actually. Excuse me. So we have a different beginning here. Koha. Koha egiri. Whatever it is. So, what can we put in there? Koha egiri. Koha egiri. Shin. Alyevik. Remember shin up here? Koha egiri shin alyevik. Ko ha egiri shin alyevik. Ko. That's it. That's all you do. Just a different beginning here. And there's a different beginning here and here. And we change the beginning here. So the beginning will change a little bit in different situations, but the rest of it is going to be the same every time. Yeah, nice. Ko ha egiri, Lord of the Rings alyevig, right? Ko ha egiri, The Witcher alyevig, Han Witcher gleva, gleva, etc. So that's how it works. These are some really good examples of this pattern. So what's the trick? What's the trick? Let's write it down up here. The trick. So there's a couple different parts here. Well, really two parts. So the trick, part one of the trick, is that when you're wanting to read something, reading comes to the end of the phrase or the sentence. Yep. Alyevig comes to the end of the phrase. Here it is. Right here at the end. Here it is again. The end of the phrase. Gleva. Okay, part two. Put an A before it. An A. So here's the A. There's the A, and then the A right there. So if you've seen the other videos about wanting to do things, you know about the little A that jumps in there. But then there's no lenition. It's actually easier. Just put in the A, make sure alyevig is at the end of the phrase, after the thing that you want to read. Then that's it. Done. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Now one more thing I want to point out here before we wrap up. So we have alyevig and alyevig. They sound exactly the same, but they're two different phrases. So this is reading. Reading. There's the ing, and that's because of the A apostrophe. Alyevig. It sounds the same, but it means reading. Sounds the same as this. This is to read. Alyevig. Alyevig. To read. Yeah. So the rest of the sentence will give you a clue about what is being said here. Yeah. But just keep in mind those are two different things. A apostrophe, lyevig is reading, and then alyevig, no apostrophe here. That is just to read. Kleva. So have fun with this. You know, if you're a reader, tell everyone what you want to read, what you don't want to read. Ask them what they want to read. You know, get this phrase, this kind of complex sentence deeper in your mind. Just get more used to it. You know, get some practice with it. Have fun with it. Don't stress too much, and then keep an eye out as you read Gaelic and as you hear Gaelic, you'll definitely encounter these kinds of phrases, these complex phrases, and after a bit of time, bit of practice, and then these videos, there'll be no problem for you. Yeah. Cléva. So thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a great rest of the day. I'll see you in the next video. Cléva.